Welcome to the Be Here Now guest podcast. This series features a collection of teachings and conversations centered around mindfulness, spiritual growth, and living a life in balance. Each week, our diverse network of guest teachers and hosts offer up wisdom and practices from a different spiritual path and perspective. If you would like to support this podcast, please visit BeHereNowNetwork.com/donate.
But here we are together again, this incredible group that comes together for the women's Satsang, the women's Ramdas Satsang. So I invite you all to say hi in the chat to start to get our circle going. Maybe a good word from your day or anything else that you want to share with this group. We're here to deepen into these teachings together, the teachings of Ramdas and Neem Karoli Baba, and to do it from a female perspective. And we're also here really to foster this mutual empowerment within the Ramdas community among women. And we're here to bring forth those wisdom that we have that might be coming from a little bit different perspective. So we've been doing it for, I think, over 2 years now. And it's really a lovely, amazing group. So how many of you have been here for a while? How many people are like brand new? This is your first one. Wow, welcome. So glad you're here. So wonderful. So I'm going to just take a moment to talk about how tonight will roll. We'll start with a meditation with Mirabai Starr. So grateful that she's here. And then we'll do our prayers together, which Amy will be leading. And then we'll go into our talk, and we're talking about the gifts of the ancestors, this being the season where the veil gets thin in all sorts of traditions. And they say it's easier for us to be able to access our ancestors. And so it seems like a perfect time to do this one. Then from the talk, we'll go into breakout rooms where we get to really connect with each other and sort of dig into a question. And I know for some people, especially if you're new, that can feel a little intimidating. But one of the things someone told me when I first came was that everyone here is just a friend you haven't met yet. And so we get to meet our friends and share from our hearts. And it's a really, really lovely space to do that. We'll end with some chanting, and then we'll, if you can stick around for what we call the after party, we'll do some question and response together. So I think most of you probably know Mirabai Starr, but if you don't, you will, and really encourage you to check out her many amazing books, including Wild Mercy, which has been named one of the best books by Spirituality and Practice. She lives in New Mexico. She has a home near the Hanuman Temple and has been with Ramdas, I think, since you were 14, right, Mirabai? Whoops, are you there? Yeah. She'll come on in a second, tell you all about that. And she's on the board of Love, Serve, Remember Foundation, and is just an incredible human being, and was actually the reason that we got together and started this group. I think we had the idea a while ago. It took us a few months, but she's the real impetus for why we're all here today. So invite us all to just shine some love, some sprinkles and sparkles and beauty to the lovely Mirabai Starr. Welcome. So glad you're here with us. Are you able to unmute? You should be able to now.
There we go. Yes. Hi. Thank you, Jackie. Well, it's such a joy to be with you, and I'll be speaking more in a moment. But for now, I just would love to invite us to breathe into this present moment. So I invite you to take a comfy seat in your seat. And I'm going to begin by lighting a candle. If you have one handy, why don't you take a moment to grab it? And I light this candle to welcome you and myself into this present moment. Such a gift to be together, to be in circle, in satsang, in sangha. community, beloved community, together. And also to honor the ancestors who are always available to us, who surround us wing to wing, lifting us and protecting us and laughing at us and all the other things that ancestors are meant to be doing, not taking us too seriously when we take ourselves very seriously, for one. And also this candle, which I now have next to me, is for all our beloveds who have died, especially those who have died in the past year or so, that we offer special care and thanks to those beings. And feel them close right now as we kindle this light. I'm going to ring the bell and invite you into a very brief guided breathing meditation, and then I'll ring the bell to end. So if you would please join me now at your own pace in taking 3 deep breaths. Inhaling first as deeply as you can, and then holding the inhalation for a while, feeling the prana, the life force radiating through your cells. And then breathing all the way out and lingering for a while between breaths before inhaling again. So at your own pace, breathing in deeply, holding, exhaling completely, and holding. Becoming as curious and gentle with yourself as possible as you explore that full arc of breath. Letting it wash you with energy and also equanimity. And whenever you finish taking your 3 breaths, just breathe naturally. And imagine roots extending down from the base of your spine or your yoni or your feet, deep into the belly of our mother, the earth, intermingling with her roots. Like the aspen groves here in New Mexico where I live, these vast groves of beautiful individual trees that under the earth are one great tree. Their root system united as one. So it looks like we are separate, but together under the earth, our roots are connected to each other and to her. Take your rightful place, rooted now in the earth. And now feel a gentle lifting from the crown of your head, connecting you to the invisible realms, the angelic spheres, the land of the ancestors. The realm of light. Feel the way you belong to that world too. and how perfectly you are suspended between the heavens and the earth, between the deep, dark womb of the mother and the sublime light of the astral realms, and how you are like the trunk of the tree, standing strong and also supple in the winds of this world. And now, as we begin to return to this present moment, I invite you to really call in the ancestors, welcome them, cry out for them. The ancestors of your own genetic heritage, who, now that they are no longer alive, have become great masters, available to you for guidance and unending support. And also the ancestors of your spiritual lineages, all of them. Call on them, welcome them, feel them surrounding you. Nestle into them and offer your great gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
That was so beautiful, Mirabai. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
So here in the Women's Satsang, it's our tradition that we start all our calls with gratitudes and prayers, where we just take a minute at the beginning of this call and we pray with each other and share our greatest joys by typing it into the chat. So if you want to take a minute, and maybe even from that beautiful meditation that Mirabai just led us in, our prayers tonight or our greatest gratitudes include our ancestors or loved ones here or in the world beyond. And just take a minute and we'll share together. And I'll read these out loud. And as I speak them and you read them as they scroll by, we visualize all these prayers and gratitudes filling us and coming true and manifesting just as it is. Gratitude for the love and companionship of the four-leggeds. And I'm right there with you, Sharon. I just had a new puppy come into our life. So Autumn Bounty, so beautiful. Thank you. Gratitude for the idea of ancestors, which I've not been able to consider helpful. That is powerful. We're with you. So divine, beautiful, grieving and suffering. We're with you. Grateful for clean air in the womb of the earth. Okay, they're coming in so fast. So I just want to say, adoptive mother, that's so beautiful. My adoptive mother may not be biological, but I consider her to be my ancestor. We're with you. I'm going to add prayers from with the women in Iran. I'm thinking about them so much. Friendships, good conversation, connection, backyard stargazing. Beautiful, Jackie. For your BFF who recently died bunch unexpectedly, we're sending you so much love. Gratitude for ancestors enabling me to be here and pray for in prayers for this world. Same. Gratitude for playing gin rummy with my 104-year-old mom, J-Ma, in the hospital as she recovers from a fractured hip. So wishing her complete healing. Partners, parents, kids, joys, gratitude for my husband who died in January, loving, kind mother, uncle, father, son, Ethan, who passed away and is with me every day. And may your connection remain strong, Linda. So we're going to take this moment and also offer that this call is being recorded. And if you are listening and you're thinking and speaking your prayers, we're with you on this recording and across the world. I saw somebody joining us from Thailand. That's amazing. So collective prayers add to the power of manifestation, and we're sending love to each of you, and may healing and abundance and joy be part of your day to day. So thank you all. And feel free to continue to add your prayers to the chat. That's fine. Lots of love and so grateful to be here together. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Beautifully done. So bringing all your prayers into our collective heart, deep bow. So Jackie, are you ready for me to
Yes, please.
do my thing?
Jump in, please.
All right. Such an honor and a privilege to be able to share some thoughts and teachings with you today. I always love being able to touch back into this women's satsang. I can't do it all every time, but I just love being here with you all and with Jackie, Amy, and Julie, and meeting Gitima and her sister behind the scenes this evening. Has been such a privilege. I can't believe I get to do this. So thank you, thank you. My name is Mirabai Starr, as you heard, and sometimes people mix me up with Mirabai Bush. We both write books. We're both friends with Ram Dass, but she was much in the field a little longer. Although I remember meeting Mirabai Bush when I was 14, when I first started working with Ram Dass. I'm 61, just to give you some context. And Mirabai and her husband Krishna at the time, so I've known her a long time. And she's a great role model for me in more than a name. So I'd like to begin this topic, this Dharma talk, really about welcoming the ancestors into our life by reading from this book that is not yet out, but I'm so excited about it. Let's see. I don't know if you can see. Hold on a second. Let me just change my view here. If you can see this, it's called You Are the Universe, and it is a book that Amy and Julie, who are on this call and are always on this call, who help coordinate the women's satsang, did together. That is right there. They collected Ram Dass's talks into topics, but it's really geared toward young adults. And they did an incredible job distilling the essence of Ram Dass's teachings and his story with incredibly beautiful illustrations. And then they did their version of the brown pages. Okay, I could go on and on, but I won't. It's just too beautiful. But I would like to read a little something from this book to begin. Ram Dass said, I encourage you to make peace with death, to see it as the culmination of this adventure called life. It is not an error. It is not a failure. It's taking off a tight shoe, which you have worn well. We want to open to death as a part of life, to embrace death truly and hold it gently. To be able to do that is extraordinary. For me, appreciating death and the spiritual journey after death has given my life its fullness of meaning, which is to see death as a part of life. So that's such a beautiful teaching from our beloved Ram Dass, and he helped me very much in expanding my heart to be able to hold that in the wake of some very significant deaths that I experienced of loved ones over the years. It's easier, of course, to see the perfection of death and to see it as part of the cycle when it's someone who has lived a full life. It's a little more challenging when young ones die, when our children die, and our partners who maybe have left us with young children who have not seemingly lived full lives. And so one of the things that Ram Dass has helped me to do in grieving, like the death of my 14-year-old daughter, for instance, is to be with both realities, that the death of loved ones breaks my heart, and sometimes I can't fucking stand it. But that is true. That grief, that anguish is real. And I'm not going to spiritually bypass it or sugarcoat it or slap some belief system on it that everything's perfect and we're all going to be reincarnated anyway. No, be with the reality of the broken heart. And also be willing to soften and expand the capacity of the heart to hold the other truth. That's just as true, that death is a part of the life cycle, and no matter how long we got to have our loved ones with us, there is a way in which they too, even if young, have taken off a tight shoe and are free, and we can celebrate that and celebrate them in our lives, the way that they touched and transformed our lives. Sometimes it's not so simple, like I love this person madly and I miss them with all my heart, soul, and body. And sometimes it's more like I loved this person deeply and our relationship was complicated, and all of that is also true. And one thing that I feel like I've learned from Ram Dass over the years is to cultivate enough of a contemplative practice, a meditation practice, that I can not turn from things as they are, but really sometimes tentatively, sometimes reluctantly show up for what is. So one of the things, as Jackie mentioned about this time of year, is that in so many spiritual traditions, it's seen as a time of the thinning of the veils. And in the indigenous and Catholic traditions, it corresponds with the leading up to All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. What's known in Latinx culture as Dia de Muertos. And I've grown up in spending a lot of time in Mexico and really living there part-time, but with my family close to community, not in any kind of tourist areas, but in small villages. And so Dia de Muertos is a celebration of the dead, Day of the Dead, that's very close to my heart, that I've experienced on the ground. And so I wanted to share with you some of the broad strokes of this beautiful custom, with a deep bow of honor and gratitude to the culture from which it arises, so that we're not just like typical, many of us are white, but like typical white people on a spiritual path, just helping ourselves to somebody else's cultural and spiritual treasures with a sense of entitlement, but rather with deep respect and honoring to the culture from which this beautiful spiritual teaching arises. I offer what I know of this ritual and invite you to embody it yourself if you wish. Maybe it's something you already do. So Dia de Muertos, or Day of the Dead, corresponds, as I said, with All Souls' Day and All Saints' Day. Starts on November 1st and spills into November 2nd, and really into November 3rd. So November 1st is Dia de los Angelitos, which is the day of the little angels. And that's the day to honor children who have died. And my Zapotec friends in the villages outside of Oaxaca say that for children, the gates of heaven are wide open. And that that means that when they die, they go into the light, just without any impediments, but also that they can come back to us on Day of the Dead very much more easily. That's November 1st, Dia de los Angelitos. The second day, November 2nd, is the day to honor the adults who have died, everybody else. And it's called Dia de Difuntos. And Dia de Los Angelitos is truly, I have to admit, more fraught, often with sorrow. But the next day, really known as the Day of the Dead, is filled with laughter and joy and fun and play. This is the beauty of the Latinx culture, is the way in which they can make fun of death, make friends with death, and play. There's a lot of, there are the what do they call it? The dressing up as difuntos, as dead people with the skulls and the makeup, and making an ofrenda. This is the main thing about Dia de Muertos that I want to tell you about. So on Dia de Muertos, before it, we make a beautiful altar in our homes. Most of us already have altars of all kinds, or we wouldn't be hanging out in Ramdas Satsangs. But to make a special altar for the Day of the Dead, that includes pictures of your loved ones who have died, candles, flowers, particularly marigolds, the flor de muerto, the flower of the dead. Marigolds, as you probably have noticed, bloom like crazy around this time of year. So it's natural that they would be the flower of the dead. And they're also bright and fragrant, because what you're doing when you create this altar, also foods that the people loved. Like for my daughter Jenny, we always do chocolate chip cookies and pasta with pesto. Maybe they love tequila. That's very common in Mexico for the elders who have died. Maybe they played the guitarra, and you want or some instrument. So you want some symbol of their art. Maybe they were a painter. So the symbols of things that were important in their life, or maybe even actual objects from their life. I have Jenny's mala that Ramdas gave her on my altar. So things like that on your ofrenda. So the idea is that the veils are very thin. In fact, they're kind of gone on Dia de Muertos. And the flowers, the fragrance of these marigolds and the color form a kind of beacon so that the spirits of the dead can find their way back home to us. The foods and the drink entice them, but they also help them on their journey. They refresh and revive them and give them sustenance. In Mexico, they do these skulls, calaveras, and skeleton art, as you've probably seen. You know that movie, the animated children's movie, Coco. Have you seen Coco? It's so good. They did such a great job, really encompassing and embodying how important and beautiful Dia de Muertos is in this culture. And it's not just Hispanic or Latinx culture, it's also indigenous. There are altars found in archaeological sites all over Latin America that show that the dead have been honored, the spirits of the dead, in this way with these special altars for probably 1,000 years or more. In Teotitlan del Valle, the village where my family, my parents and my siblings and our children have spent so much time outside of Oaxaca, it's very important. The Zapotec Indian people really do Day of the Dead in a deep way. And they start ringing bells at sunset on November 1st, and it goes for 24 hours. And they ring the bells in the church and bells in their homes to really call the spirits home. It's such a powerful emotional experience to hear all these bells ringing, like, come, come, this is the way, follow the sound of the bell. And the candles and the path, they make a path of candles and marigolds from their front door out, sometimes all the way to the village cemetery. And then the bells stop ringing when it's time for the spirits to return to the spirit world. They also burn copal, which is this resin from the copal tree that, as many of you know, is very sacred to the Zapotecs, to the Teotihuacanos of the Valley of Mexico, who are the Nahuatl people, and to the Maya of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico and the highlands of Guatemala. So they burn copal. I was just in Bacalar, Quintana Roo. I just got back a couple of days ago, and that's where my family has a home. And my stepfather lived there full time, and he died there just a couple of months ago in his little house on the water in Laguna Bacalar. And so I was the first one of the family to go there, and his friends had set up a beautiful altar in his casita, in his house, with his picture. And these are local Mayan people, and a candle. And also there was a glass of water and a pair of his glasses. And I asked Doña Chari, who had been taking care of him the last couple of months of his life, what the water and the glasses are for. And she said, well, obviously the water is to nourish to revive his soul and his journey. And the glasses are so that he can see his way. And this is just part of everyday reality. So Dia de Muertos is a special time of year to honor our intimate connection with our loved ones who have died, but they're always part of us. In traditional cultures, they remember that. And I think many of us do as well. You know, in Jewish culture, Judaism does death beautifully. I think of all the cultures of the world, Tibetan Buddhism probably, and Judaism. There's the yard site, which is every year on the anniversary of the beloved's death. We light a candle at sunset of the night before, and it goes all the way through the next day, a yard site candle to honor that person. Because in Judaism, we don't know what happens to the soul after they die, but we know that they live in our hearts and in our memories. We talk about them. We tell stories about them. In Hinduism, of course, there's the strong belief that our souls come back again and again, and we want to be open to the new incarnations and the ways that our souls continue their journey to moksha, to enlightenment, to liberation. Also on the yard site, the other thing we do is we say the Kaddish, and that's the mourner's prayer. But the beautiful thing about the Kaddish is that it never mentions death or grief. It's a prayer in praise of the majesty of God and really the unknowability, but really asking for peace on all beings, all beings. That's what the Kaddish is about. So if you don't have your own cultural rituals to connect with the ancestors, and by ancestors, I include everyone that we love who has died. Even our children become our ancestors. I consider my daughter Jenny to be a living ancestor for me, meaning available to me and on my team of ancestors. And that doesn't include only people I knew, but ancestors of beings I never met, like Anandamaya Ma, or even beings that were not ever embodied, like Krishna and Kuan Yin and Kabir Kabir was embodied, but Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, beings who lived but who I never met, or beings that are archetypal wisdom keepers, Tara, Hanuman, who are available to us as allies on our path. I bring them all into this circle of loving beings who surround me, and each one has their own special flavor of wisdom and guidance and surprise and beauty to offer to me on my path. So cultivating intimacy with these beings is a way to not only honor them, but enrich our lives. One of the things I do, and that I am inviting you to do, is to think of the attributes and personality quirks and the things that you loved or found amusing or found even challenging, but ultimately beautiful about loved ones who have died. And see if you can bring those qualities and attributes into your own life. Like my daughter Jenny was anti-authoritarian. Of course, she was 14 when she died, so that was her job. But I try to bring that spirit of speaking truth to power into my life, because I tend to be compliant and a people pleaser, which Jenny pointed out to me many times. So how do I bring in her fierce but funny attitude of stepping up to authority, and to stepping up into her own power? That was my timer. Tells me I'm at 20 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. Another way that we can honor our ancestors, besides having an altar to them in our house at all times, like I always have little altars to my loved ones. I have one to Ramdas right on that side. I have one to Sirima behind that the screen. So, of course, altars and shrines to our loved ones. Not only on Dia de Muertos, that's when I really go crazy and extravagant, but all the time. But also gatherings to commemorate them, where people offer stories, a poem, light candles, have their favorite foods. You can do that at any time. We also do a spirit plate. On Jenny's birthday, we make a meal that she loves, and then we make a little plate and put it outside and offer it to her spirit. I dedicate practices, spiritual practices, but also projects, art projects, creative endeavors of every kind to the memory of people I love. That's a beautiful way to honor them. Any kind of new endeavor or big life project I dedicate to loved ones who have died. So I think that that's enough there. So I'm just going to read you one more paragraph to close, and later you'll have a chance to ask some questions, but mostly you'll be able to speak with each other about this. So Ramdas also said, I think you'll agree that death is one of the greatest mysteries and a moment of incredible transformation. Contemplating death has been such a gift for me. It just keeps me right at the edge of the mystery. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, I want to approach this mystery with a sense of adventure and a clear mind, with an appreciation and love for the mystery in the form of the universe. I would like to be present at that moment. If death is just around the corner, I want to get comfortable in the role of being a listener to the mystery. So as I close, I just want to say that by cultivating intimacy with our ancestors, that was page 80, by the way, for those of you who might want to check it out later, by really forging these intimate bonds with our ancestors, we are also making friends with our own death and becoming more at ease with that vast, beautiful, invitational mystery to merge back into the beloved. The Sufis call our death our wedding night with the beloved. And for Catholics, the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death, is the feast day. We feast with our beloveds. So thank you. Muchas gracias. And much love to especially those of you whose tender hearts are grieving as we speak.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Always such an incredible gift to just be with you, and such a gift to be with these teachings, really, of being with our ancestors, opening up those threads if we don't have them. So it's really such a gift.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So now is when we're going to go into our breakout rooms. So we'll take about 20 minutes just so we can try to end close to our normal time, which is around 9:15. We'll probably go a little bit long. And just recognizing that there's so many people here. And I do encourage you to stick around because these are really, really rich. But there's a lot of people here, and many might have lost someone recently, and it might be tender. So invite those of you who that's your truth to really be mindful around your self-care and what it is that you do want to share. And for everyone else to also be really aware of crosstalk. And this is one of the things we do when we practice being in satsang together, right? We practice spiritual hospitality. We practice being in heart space. We practice listening, right? We can hear so much more when we just listen. We practice recognizing that each of us is God in drag, and we all have wisdom to impart, and that we practice seeing each other as trees, meaning we're going to have very different opinions, and all of it is welcome. But tonight, really, it's that holding space and listening without the giving advice or facilitating or just stepping into another's space. Does that make sense? Yeah, good. And then we'll go in, we'll each have about 4-ish minutes to share. And we have a particular question prompt. Mirabai, you want to bring forward the question prompt that we'll discuss in our breakout groups?
Yeah, so I talked about different ways that you can honor your loved ones who have died, dedicating a project to them, having an altar, and so on. What is some new thing, perhaps, that you haven't done before or want to do more of that will help you to forge and reinforce this intimacy with one or more loved ones who have died? What is something you would like to do going forward?
Great. All right. So we'll open up our breakout rooms. I'll send time prompts, and then we'll meet back here and have some chanting and then some Q&A. All right. We'll see you all soon. Hopefully it was really rich. And I always want to be a fly on the wall in each of the rooms, because I know that there's so much wisdom being shared and so many great ideas. But yeah. So now we will do a little bit of business, which is part of our tradition is feeding people. And so each month we pick a nonprofit to put our attention and focus on and make donations to. And so Mirabai has picked our foundation this evening. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? I'll put the link in the chat.
Did you say you want me to put it in the chat, or it's in the chat?
But if you would tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I just have to, you have to put it there so I can remember the name of it, because I forgot the name. It's like Taos Food Alliance or something like that.
Yeah.
So here in Taos, New Mexico, where I live, we live in proximity to the Taos Pueblo, which is an ancient culture here in the Rio Grande Valley. And that Taos Pueblo is the longest continuously occupied Native American community in North America. They have lived in their same ancestral land. They were never displaced. And so there's this community organization that is really working on food sovereignty and teaching the children of Taos Pueblo how to grow food. And so it's teaching children how to garden, do sustainable farming and gardening, also using the native seeds. So blue corn, well, all the colors of corn and the three, what they call the three sisters, corn, beans, and squash, and just kind of reintroducing sustainable agriculture to a whole generation. So that's the organization that I love. And then they have a what is it called? CSA.
Okay.
So every summer we buy our produce from them and try to support them in other ways too. It's a wonderful program of teaching Taos Pueblo children.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Homegrown Taos. That's it. Homegrown Taos. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And then Amy, you want to jump in?
Okay, so we've come to the point in our evening where we're going to have some chanting. And I just want to say we're so blessed to have had that opportunity to talk in Satsang about that topic. And I had a beautiful connection with our group. And I just want to say what a nice way to end with some lovely chanting by the Mom Game sisters, Gita Ma and her beautiful sister. And I'm not sure if anybody recognizes the name, but Gita Ma was on the Hanuman Maui. What was it called? What was the name of the CD called? Like, what was it?
I have to look up myself.
Okay, so Hanuman Maui is Ram Dass's home. They turned into an ashram, kind of like sanctuary space. And they did a fundraiser not that long ago, and they put out a CD. They've done a couple, I guess. And you can find her recording on that. And you can also find her on Facebook, and you can catch her older posts where her and her sister and her mom even sometimes have chanted. And anyway, we're very grateful to have you tonight, both of you. Thank you so much. So I don't know, connect to the above and feel the love.
Thank you, Amy. That CD is called a Bhaktimala for Ramdas. Okay. So we're going to get started. So we're going to start with invoking Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha is considered the deity that we invoke to remove all our obstacles, all problems, all potential issues that might come up in any new venture. And today, we invoke Lord Ganesha to make this evening, this experience, as beautiful and as smooth as it has been already. And let all of you take this with you back home and continue your search within, using all the wisdom that we've collected today. Vigneshwara Shiva Shambho Kumara Vigneshwara Shiva Shambho Kumara Vigneshwara Namo Narari Vigneshwara Namo Narari Vigneshwara Shiva Shambho Kumara Vigneshwara Shiva Shambho Kumara Vigneshwara Ambigatanaya Omkareshwara Ambigatanaya Omkareshwara Hiramba Hiramba Vigneshwara Hiramba हेरम्ब विघ्नेश्वरा लम्बोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा लम्बोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा शिव शम्भो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा शिव शम्भो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा अम्बे गगनया ओंकारेश्वर अम्बे गगनया ओंकारेश्वर हेरम्ब हेरम्ब विघ्नेश्वरा हेरम्ब हेरम्ब विघ्नेश्वरा लम्बोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा लम्बोदरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा शिव शम्भो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा शिव शम्भो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा मोरया रे बप्पा मोरया रे हे मोरया रे बप्पा मोरया रे हे मोरया रे बप्पा मोरया रे मोरया रे बप्पा मोरया रे मोरया रे बप्पा मोरया रे हे मोरया रे बप्पा मोरया रे हे गणपति बप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया हे गणपति बप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया हे गणपति बप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया गणपति बप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया मोरया रे बप्पा मोरया रे हे मोरया रे बप्पा 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 मोरया रे. Now we're going to invoke Lord Shiva into this beautiful gathering, the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer of the universe. Shankara Chandra Shekhara Gangadhara Manohara Shankara Chandra Shekhara Gangadhara Manohara Shankara Chandra Shekhara Gangadhara Manohara Pahi Mam Parameshwara Mrityunjaya Vishveshwara Pahi Mam Parameshwara Mrityunjaya Vishveshwara Shankara Chandra Shekhara Gangadhara Manohara Shankara Chandra Shekhara Neelakancha Bhalanetra Bhasma Bhushita Sundara नीलकण्ठ भालनेत्र भस्मभूषित सुन्दरा पाहि मां करुणाकरा गिरिजेश ओंकारेश्वरा पाहि मां करुणाकरा गिरिजेश ओंकारेश्वरा शङ्करा चन्द्रशेखरा गङ्गाधरा सुमनोहरा शङ्करा चन्द्रशेखरा ताण्डव प्रिय जय नटेशा विश्वनाथ महेश्वरा ताण्डव प्रिय जय नटेशा विश्वनाथ महेश्वरा पाहि मां भयङ्करा व्याघ्रचर्माम्बरधरा पाहि मां भयङ्करा व्याघ्रचर्माम्बरधरा शङ्करा चन्द्रशेखरा गङ्गाधरा सुमनोहरा शङ्करा चन्द्रशेखरा
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, let's shower you all with some of that love and light right back at you. That was so beautiful. So much, Bob.
Now sing Ram Bhajan, and this is invoking not only Lord Ram but Lord Hanuman as well, because if you want to pray out, give a shout out to Lord Hanuman, it's only through Lord Ram that you can do that. Mudita manasika ho Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Mudita manasika ho Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Shri Ram 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 Prema mudita man se kaho Ram 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 पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम भव समुद्र सुखद नाम भव समुद्र सुखद नाम एक राम नाम प्रेम उदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 परम शांति सुख निधान नित्य राम नाम निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम परम शांति सुख निधान नित्य राम नाम निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम परम गोप्य परम इष्ट मंत्र राम नाम परम गोप्य परम इष्ट मंत्र राम नाम संत हृदय सदा बसत संत हृदय सदा बसत एक राम नाम प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So appreciate it. So now we're going to move into our after party. We've gone a little bit long this evening. Thank you for staying with us. It's been such a gift to have all of these different pieces, and each piece could have been so much longer, I'm sure. It's just filling our hearts in so many ways. And we typically leave the sort of open the room for the last 10 minutes or so people can sort of ask questions or anything else that may have come up. And so we have Mirabai here. So if you have any questions specifically for her, that is wonderful. And we'll make it so that you can unmute yourself, and you can either popcorn style or raise your virtual hand. Let me make sure I can do that. You are able to unmute yourself now.
Go ahead, Trudy.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for everything in Mirabai and all of you putting it together. I had something, and the talk was very powerful and just opened my heart. My question is the concept that our ancestors are with us, and I can feel that. But at the same time, we look at the concept like in the Ram Dass talks and about reincarnation. So can you tell me if, let's say our ancestors, we can still call them in? What if they've reincarnated, or does that make a difference? Like this is a unusual kind of realm that I'm wanted to inquire about.
Yeah, I hear you, Trudy. That's a great question. I think a lot of us have sat with the what might feel like discrepancies or even contradictions, and expanded to include all possibilities. That that it's. I actually I'm not trying to plug my books, because authors, as those of you authors know, get a few cents for every book. Sorry, Amy and Julie, that we publish. But I wrote a book called Caravan of No Despair that has a chapter called Believing Everything, in which I grapple, and it with humor, with that very thing. Okay, so they're my ancestors. They're in the spirit realm. They're available to me, and they reincarnate, and they go back into the light, into like a drop of water into the boundless sea. And they're only available to us through our memories. And we light a yahrzeit candle. I brought in everything, Tibetan Buddhism, everything I'd ever learned. And I decided at the end of that short chapter that I was going to believe all of it.
Okay.
And it's really worked for me because when my daughter died, I really, desperately wanted to know where was she and what was next in a way, And so that is, I do it with humor, but I really do allow for all of it to be true.
Oh, thank you.
And for it to be such a mystery that we can't know, and that's okay with me. Not knowing is okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trudy.
Honey, go ahead.
Yeah, Mirabai, I want to commend your book, The God of Love. Is that what it's called that I just discovered that you wrote about 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that and all your talks on YouTube. I think that's really helped me to kind of, from all those different sources, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. It's a wonderful book. And I just hope people now will rediscover it or whatever, but I really loved it. It was really helpful. And your talks, even 10 years ago on YouTube, are wonderful. So thank you so much.
Oh, I so appreciate that, Connie. Thank you. Because that's not a book people talk about much anymore. So yeah. And I love
it's great, everybody. I'm telling you. Let's talk about it next time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I know I talked a little long tonight, so if you don't have anything, I don't want to keep you all. But I'm happy to stay as long as you like.
Great. Well, we've got Kelly, go ahead. Oops, can you go?
Oh, there we go. I think I got it on mute. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I always forget how to unmute it. Well, I was like, we were kind of talking in the breakout group too about how just like celebrating death and stuff like that, and are thinking about kind of like death practices and in meditation and stuff like that, and just kind of how I guess I kind of have issues with just trying not to, make it some kind of like depressing kind of thing, and I guess I just was wondering maybe kind of some thoughts on that, because we talked about it in the group too, but I was kind of wondering if anyone wanted to expand on that.
Oh, when you say if anyone wants to, you're not specifically asking me, are you opening it up to the group?
Yeah, I guess really mostly you, really.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, so watch Coco. Have you seen it?
I actually, I want to watch. I've been meaning to watch that, and I'm going to for sure now.
Good. I love how art can be such a powerful vehicle for transformation. So in the Latinx culture, there is this laughter and like playfulness around death. So for Dia de Muertos, if you were to try that this year, coming up in a couple of weeks, make an altar, but also put the foods and the symbols of that person that are more playful, and offer to them your loving memories, and that are beyond your tears. I mean, inclusive of your tears, because your tears are holy.
Yeah.
But expand beyond that to remember the quirky, funny things about them. And really what we're doing is we're laughing at death, so death doesn't have that same power over us. In Western sort of American mainstream culture, there's like this hush around death, and it happens behind closed doors. It's almost like Ramdas said in that, like it's a failure. We see death as a failure. So if we just expand our consciousness and our hearts to see death as part of that whole stream of interbeing, and include all the wonderful parts of the ones that we love, that sometimes get suppressed. Like people think they're only supposed to be sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And because it can be, and it can just be hard sometimes. Even that was a big thing that I struggled with. It's been, years now since I was saying, like, my husband died in 2015.
Oh.
So it's been, it was just kind of weird being like a 30-year-old widow, I kind of
sweetheart
struggled with that for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And it was, but I mean, but now I'm kind of where at first the worst part of it, and this happens with everyone, I'm sure. It's just dealing with the, even the happy memories now make you sad, missing them sort of a thing. But now it's not so much like that. I can actually kind of laugh about it and, and remember the fun stuff. But, so that's helpful though. I appreciate, your words about it. I think that really, that's a good idea.
Well, I'm giving you such a hug right now, Kelly.
Thank you.
What is his name?
Kelvin White.
Kelvin. Okay.
Yeah.
Kelly and Kelvin.
Yep.
Adorable. Okay. He's lighting a candle for Kelvin in my heart right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Danny, do you want to go ahead?
Oh, yeah, I love Coco, by the way. I just found it by accident, channel surfing. It was on Disney and it was just helpful. And I love cartoons anyway. I was going to ask if you had anything to say about regrets. My husband died in January. I've been trying to not think about things that I wish I could go back and change, that time you waste with just meaningless arguments or whatever. And I was listening to Thich Nhat Hanh, and he was talking about that absolutely you can go back right now. It doesn't matter that the person has passed on and resolve things, but I just wondered if there was more to say about that.
Yeah, gosh, I feel like I want to do a grief session. We do one, Jackie? We did a grief session a year or so ago, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. I feel like I want to do it again at some point because it's very natural to go through different stations, they call it in Sufism, of the path of transformation through grief and loss. But one of the stations that's the most sticky and difficult is what Kubler-Ross called bargaining. And bargaining in the grief world is about rewinding the tape, to use old language, of what happened, what didn't happen, what could have been. And that's where remorse and regret just rises up, and it's so thorny and hard to extricate yourself from. So my guidance around that, when those feelings and thoughts arise, that monkey mind takes over and just sort of tortures us with all the ways we should have done it differently, or somebody else should have done it differently or could have, is to just breathe compassion into those moments. When you have those intrusive thoughts and it's like, oh, if only, to just meet those thoughts with, like you would be a mother or a loving person who, like your little self who's grieving, you become that loving being who just wants to hold and shelter and protect and support that person and say, you were a wonderful wife. You were a wonderful companion. You're a human being. You did the best you could. He loved you. Say all of those kind of self-soothing things that you can possibly come up with and just nurture your way through those really difficult moments. They have to run their course. The brain is designed to solve problems, and it can't solve the problem of death. And so it just makes itself crazy by trying, but that's its job. So you just have to give it space. And the witness, as Ram Dass called it, is alive and well, that loving part of you that can see that and just go, it's okay, sweetheart. It's going to be okay. And you'll get through this difficult moment. And you are a wonderful, loving companion to your beloved. That's the real truth. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Boy, it's hard to do these things on the fly. This is such big stuff.
It really is. Do these last two questions. Trudy, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I don't have a question. Mirabai, thank you so much. I just wanted to share my ancestral altar. I just did an ancestral ceremony today.
Oh,
So I thought this would be a nice time to share.
perfect, Trudy. Thank you. What a
I
great.
have to say thanks to Ramdas too, who encourages us to run toward that. I am in training to be a conscious dying coach
Good.
and a doula. So yes,
You're going to be a
the
lucky
ancestors have been such a great help too. So yes,
How beautiful, Trudy. Thank you for sharing that, and blessings on that training. It's so important.
thank you.
So go ahead.
Linda, did you call on Linda?
I did. Can you not hear me, Linda? Yeah.
Hi, thank you for tonight. I really needed this tonight. What is my question? Well, my son passed 16 months ago, and
God.
I took a training with David Kessler, thinking I was going to go out there and help people that are grieving. You know, I got my certificate and all, but I don't feel ready to do that. I thought I'm going to go help somebody. When do you get past this? It goes in so many waves that, like, part of me wants to help and the other part is, no, I'm not ready yet. Is that like a normal thing?
Totally normal, Linda. I did the same thing. I think it was 9 months after my daughter died. I went to a grief counseling training, year-long training program. I am going to help other people. And I also wasn't ready. And I wish they had told me that. But it's a really natural impulse, because when you survive the unbearable loss of a child, it's natural to want to help other people to also bear the unbearable and even be transformed by the power of such a loss. But it does take a while to integrate it. I see it as like an amputation. Any great loss, but let's talk about the loss of a child right now. And there are quite a few of us in this circle who've experienced, unfortunately, the loss of a child. And my deepest compassion to you, Linda, is that it's like a limb is cut off. And you can't just get right back on that surfboard. You have a whole different center of gravity now. And so learning to integrate what happened to you and learn a new way of moving through this world takes time. And there are waves. Waves is a beautiful way to describe it. And those waves go on, I'm sorry to say, for a very long time. They don't crush you anymore after a while, but they do come in waves, and then we just breathe through. It's like you learn to grow gills or something. You learn how to breathe underwater is all I can say. And to just not rush it. Everybody has their own time frame. Nobody can tell you what's too long. 16 months, I will tell you this, is nothing. That's so recent. And so
wow, I never thought this would be. In fact, his hospice doctor is opening her own hospice place, and I want to jump in there and help because she helped me so much. But
yes, exactly. And you will, and you may, you may do it. You may do it in 6 months when she's open, or you may do it in 6 years. Just give yourself time. There's no timeline that anyone else can conform to. And yes, sometimes in the fire of your own recent loss, that can be a very powerful time to hold space for other people. But just trust your heart, trust your body. This is such, as you've probably noticed, embodied experience. Grieving can be so physical and so visceral. So your body will tell you, what you're able to do, even just touch down lightly and then step back. Doesn't have to be.
Thank you. Yeah, it was haunting me. Like, I was a nurse for 30 something years and I want to help people. And now I'm like,
Yeah, this is your time to just nurture.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for all your work.
Oh, you're so welcome. I wish none of us are expert on anyone else's grief, but we can we can be loving rocks for each other, as Ramdas said. And
Yeah.
so thank you.
See you in Maui.
Oh, good. Linda, what's your son's name again?
Ethan.
Ethan. Okay. Just holding Ethan close in my heart right now. And you.
Us. Such a sweet, beautiful circle of women. Thank you so much, Mirabai, for just being here and all of the wisdom you bring. And thank you, everyone, for sharing with your hearts the soul connections that we have, and all of the ancestors. There's a really lovely meditation where you envision yourself sitting on the bottom row of a stadium, and your idealized mother and your idealized father on each of your sides, and then their parents behind them, and then their parents behind them, and their parents behind them, until the whole stadium's filled, and you recognize all of the gifts that come through all of those people.
Mm.
I leave you all with that image. Maybe.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
That's perfect. The gifts of the ancestors is what you called this, and I'm glad you named it.
Mm-hmm. So everyone be well. We will see you next month for our next satsang. And as always, may this evening together fill us and ripple out into the world.
Jackie, one more thing, which is just that people in your breakouts especially may have had some very deep emotional experiences, and this topic is deeply emotional. So I just encourage you to take care of yourselves this evening. Drink water, rest, watch something silly on TV, whatever it takes for you to nurture and soothe yourselves, because it was a lot.
Okay.
Thank you. Much love, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Love, and hugs.
Hi, Connie.
Hi, Linda.
I
Love you. Miss you.
miss you too.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
So much love.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.